Welcome, delicious friend. They say that fallen London is a city of 1,000 stories, and they'd be right. And I am here to share those stories with you. So sit back, pour yourself a glass of Broken Giant 1844, and enjoy. There you are. I trust you weren't followed? Excellent. Come in, quickly now. I apologise for the irregularity of contact between us recently, but after our last meeting I had to make sure we were under no further scrutiny from certain parties. But I believe the election has drawn all of that unwanted attention away from us. Did you partake in a spot of electioneering? I supported Jenny. Not publicly, of course, but supported her all the same, behind the curtain as it were. The celebrations this week have been lively. So, could you please not ask any loud questions? Ah, yes, the new portrait. Marvellous, is it not? I had an American artist create it. A strange individual, all things considered. Insisted on remaining masked the entire time. Still, who are we to judge? The Neath caters to all in one way or another. As for today's discussion, I wish to tell you of the Zee, that wide and dark abyss beyond the lights of Wolfstack docks. I doubt you've managed to voyage across its black waters yourself, and I don't wish to spoil all of the Zee's surprises, for experiencing that sunless sea for yourself is the only way you will truly learn of its nature and secrets. This will be an introduction, as many of our discussions are, and the rest I leave up to you. First, there is the technicality that the Zee is not technically a sea in the surface sense. No, it is, more accurately, a very large saltwater lake, one that, in the correct ship, can be crossed in a matter of days. It is also far calmer than the surface oceans, though by no means does that mean it is safer. Quite the opposite, in fact. The Zee's danger does not come from tides or waves, but from the terrible beasts that inhabit it, and from that oldest and most primal of emotions, fear. Terror can run through a ship like a disease. Many a captain has been mutinied or abandoned at sea by a terrified crew. The darkness can and will reduce even the hardiest of sailors to a quaking mess if one sails from the light and relative safety of port for too long. Whilst the lights and humanity of ports may reduce terror, there are some ports where it festers still. As a result, the closer to London you are, the safer the ports. As for the Zee beasts themselves, they vary in size and what level of threat they pose to you, from the relatively easy-to-deal-with swarms of bats to the most fearsome beast of all, Mount Nomad, granddaughter of the Bazaar and guardian of the waters at the Zee's northern edge. They say that Mount Nomad cannot actually be killed, only wounded enough to break pursuit, and they'd be right. Mount Nomad rarely leaves survivors, and she is yet another reason never to venture too far north. Further dangerous beasts include the fearsome bound sharks and the blue prophets of the crying heights, who call the names of those about to die. The Zee is home to pirates of all kinds, human, unfinished men, even devils are known to patrol the waters around the Iron Republic. There are other beasts to worry about, of course, but to discuss them all would take us most of the day, and I imagine we're both rather busy. As for places of interest in the Zee, there are several islands in the unchanging home waters around London. Hunter's Keep is probably the closest to Wolfstack, and is home to a trio of delightful sisters and a decidedly less delightful maid. There is Mutton Island, just south of the city, a charming little village, though I wouldn't advise an overnight stay. Further south along the coast is the Iron Republic, free from laws and tyrants. All laws and tyrants, no exceptions. To the north there is Venderbright, largest of the tomb colonies, and home to a delightful fish restaurant. Further north still, in far more dangerous waters, is Wither, where all questions are answered with questions, and Codex, where Wither's exiles and those who wish to be forgotten go. Beyond the home waters, the location of islands becomes far more difficult to keep track of, for you see, they change positions every so often. These alterations are usually rather drastic, and as such are often newsworthy. Most maps of the Zee are created, therefore, on generalizations, and as such, sailors often rely on Zeebat scouts to tell them which islands are close. There are many places of interest beyond home waters, though the most important would likely be the Carnate, which is where the remaining survivors from the Fourth City dwell far to the east. Further east still is the Empire of Hands, currently under blockade by the Royal Navy. Why? Well, ask the monkeys themselves, they know what they did. The southern coast is, of course, the borders with the Elder Continent. We Londoners have a colony there, and there is also Adam's Way, gateway to the Presbyteriate, where outsiders are only allowed for a day and where no metal ship can pass. To the northeast, there will be Irene, the Pillared City. Finally, and most terribly, in the furthest and darkest regions of the Zee, there stands a temple to the gods. Long abandoned, where sacrifices are still made. No one willingly seeks it out, of course, but should you find yourself there, I wonder what sacrifice you will make. Again, there are many more islands to be found in the Z, but when you go to Z yourself, I'm sure you'll discover them for yourself. Or you'll die. Z captains die young, and few of us live to see London again. I was one of the lucky ones. Finally, a word on the gods of the Z. There are 3 nameless gods that inhabit the Z: Salt, Stone, and Storm. These nameless gods are worshipped by most sailors, and even those who are skeptics avoid doing what traditionally draws their ire. It is known that Stone is the Mountain of the Light, daughter of the Bazaar. Storm is known to visit those who dream of thunder and is said to be the god of the roof. And Salt? Salt is an enigma, hidden behind a smokescreen. Little is known, and little needs to be known. White bats are said to be its eyes and ears in the Z, and as such sailors go to great heights to avoid harming them. This is true of all bats, of course, but white ones especially. Falling rocks from the roof are a sign of storm. There is a simple rite for such an occasion: a few words, a gift of fish and wine, marked with the captain's blood, bound in copper wire and thrown overboard. Finally, finding a diamond at Z is generally considered to be a sign of Stone. Diamonds are sacred to her, and by throwing it overboard, luck is said to be bestowed upon a ship. To anger these gods is most unwise. Their curses have brought ruin to many a sailor, and if you become captain, my advice would be to learn all you can of the gods. Your crew will be a good start. Sailors are incredibly superstitious. I trust you've enjoyed our time together, delicious friend. It's been a pleasure for me to talk about one of my greatest passions. I do hope I hear about you as a captain of your own ship one day. Exploits or obituaries are a thrilling read, no? Regardless, I will speak to you again soon, or perhaps I will send you another letter before then. We shall see.